I am in the hospital all the time. I spent my whole life in the hospital, and everyone in their bed wishes they did certain things differently. They wish they stopped smoking, wished they started running a bit more, wished they went to the gym once or twice, wished they did something. And the reality is the time is now. There's never a perfect time to start walking 10,000 steps. There's never a perfect time to start handling your business better. There's never a perfect time. The time is now. Just do it.
What's up, everybody? It's Jamel Gibbs. Welcome to another podcast episode. This is the Business and Investing Podcast, where you learn all things business and investing related. Today, we're going to talk about a topic that I'm very familiar with myself, but I wanted to get an expert on to talk about. And this is related to health and fitness and why it's important for your business, whether you're in real estate, whether you're in some other type of business. Your health is where the real wealth is. And I wanted to bring a special guest on who's a good friend of mine. He's actually my personal trainer. And at the end of the day, I've dropped about 20 pounds in the last couple of months working with Mike. And you guys know that I fluctuate in weight. I love to lift. I love to eat. I've done natural bodybuilding over the years. But even me, and we'll talk about the importance of coaching and mentoring and why it's so important, even if you have experience and how it relates to your business. I've been in real estate for 20 years. I've been in health and fitness for 20 years, bodybuilding for 20 years, but I still have a mentor, someone breathing down my neck like Mike, and just saying, hey, this is what you need to do. Looking at what I'm doing from a bird's eye view and being able to help me make the tweaks, looking at things that I'm not seeing myself. And it's important to invest into yourself in that regard. So we'll talk about all of this stuff today. Health and fitness, why it's important for your business, how it makes you feel. I feel incredible right now. And, I'm down to 230. My personal goal, it was 200, but, I was talking to Mike just right before we jumped on the podcast. My new goal is 190. I think I'll be I'll be a beast at 190. What you think, Mike?
Oh, you'd be incredible, man. I'm excited to see what the body looks like at 190.
Yeah, me too, man. So Mike has a very successful YouTube channel, over 700,000, 750,000 subscribers at this point. He crushes it with the diet. And here's the best part. Mike is a doctor, so he understands how the body works. And we're going to jump into all of this stuff today. What's up, Mike Diamonds?
What's up, guys, man? It's an honor to be here. I've learned a lot from you, Jamel, as a client. And it's one of the things I look forward to chatting to you. So you always learn different perspectives on the aspects of business and just health itself. So yeah, man, they both play a crucial role. And I think guys are going to get a lot of value from a few of the tips here that you can utilize that, man, will take your business further than you will ever imagine, just outside of what you're doing in terms of just hustling yourself. You need to take care of yourself first before you can take care of that bread.
That's right. That's right, man. So you got a business called Sculpt by Science.
That's right.
Why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself and what the business is about?
Yep. So long story short, I started my YouTube channel in my first year of medical school. And man, I felt very trapped in my body. So I did pre-med and I didn't like how I looked. I didn't have the confidence. There was just so many things that were lacking. I felt like, hey, man, I'm on my way to being successful in terms of now I'm on my road to becoming a doctor. It just didn't feel that way. And man, I tried everything in terms of dieting. I was running 2 hours doing cardio and it just wasn't working. Just in terms of like respect, right? People looking at me, it just wasn't there. And I felt like, man, why am I so undervalued? Why is no one looking at me? So I started applying the stuff I was learning in medical school. So once I finished with anatomy, for example, I'd start reading research papers in terms of dieting, what it had, the effects on the body, and basically crafting this YouTube channel, my knowledge in fitness and health. And 6 years later, we're at 700,000 subscribers. As a doctor, my guilty pleasure is to want to help people. My mom's a nurse. So I've been in a hospital setting since I was 6, right? And I've always just wanted to help people. And then come the end of medical school, I decided, you know what, I want to work with people one-on-one and not just as any coach, as a doctor, to really explain the science behind sculpting your body. And what that's given all my clients is it's empowered them, right? Because you understand what's happening with your body and why certain things are happening the way it does. So it's not a program where I'll write it on a paper and tell you to come see me in 2 weeks or in 1 week. It's really explaining, hey, this is what's going on. This is why you're seeing these particular results, the habits that you have, the food that you're putting in your body. I make those adjustments according to the science, right? I'll even share the research papers because that just gives you conviction in terms of like what you're doing. Because if you don't know what you're doing, right, you're less likely to want to. But if you see what the purpose behind it is, you're more likely to execute. And with me, with all my clients, once they've seen that weight change, they don't reverse back, right? So the idea here isn't to kind of put you in a position where you see success and then fail again so you could come and pay me again, if that makes sense. It's like, I want you to be healthy and happy. And the only reason you need to come see me again is for that level of accountability, which is very much your position, Jamel. You know what it takes to get there. But man, LeBron James has the best coaches. He's the best player in the world. He still spends $1 million, $2 million on his body every year. Yep. And there's a reason why he has that level of longevity in the game.
That's right, man. You know, for me personally, if we're relating that to business, you know, I like what you said in regards to, you know, showing you exactly what to do, showing the client what to do so that they won't have to come back. They know what to do. The only reason why they're coming back is for accountability. And when I first reached out to you, that's specifically what I wanted. I wanted accountability. Why is accountability so important when it comes to health and fitness and how it relates to business?
I think that comes all the way down to psychology, man. So if you could learn anything you want on YouTube, but the likelihood of you executing properly is probably going to be very poor as opposed to having to answer to someone. So I always, my parents didn't have too much money. And I was like, man, I'll just learn anything I can about medicine online. But you're not going to learn everything you need to just because you don't have an exam to study for, if that makes sense. So there's a massive psychological aspect of having to, quote unquote, answer to someone, right? And as a CEO, I'm sure you understand that you need to hold yourself accountable, which is one of the hardest things to do. So when you have someone to answer to, it kind of gets you kicked. If you're not running towards something, it's very difficult to run blindly. That's right. So there's many different aspects, but it's purely psychological, and no one is at fault for needing that level. You're more likely to run hard knowing you have 10 minutes as opposed to me not telling you how long you have to run for, because you'll probably die out at 5, if that makes sense.
Makes a lot of sense, man. So you spent some time in Russia, you spent some time in Brazil, you're from South Africa. How did you keep your health and fitness going while you were living in these different areas?
Yeah, so this just comes down to knowing what you enjoy. So with all these different countries that I've been living in for the past couple of months, it took some time to get in a routine, figuring out what foods you enjoyed and what you didn't, right? So Brazil was really good with all the seafood. They had amazing seafood. So I was having a lot of tilapia. So I was taking advantage of that. But again, following the science in terms of the foods that I need to be putting in my body to reach my maximum potential. And conversely, South Africa was plentiful in like meat, fresh, man. You get like the meat from the butcher and you can still smell the animal being alive, if that makes sense. So you take advantage of that. However, you're still meeting your protein, carbohydrate, and fat goals. And at the same time, it's so important for you to enjoy your food. If you don't like your food, it's unlikely you're going to stick to it. So it doesn't become a diet anymore. It just becomes a lifestyle, if that makes sense. So it's you get to have a bit of fun because you keep on figuring out like new foods that you can have in different places and like shops that you like to shop at. And eventually that becomes your routine. So that takes about a month.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's something very enjoyable and something that you learn
As you go on. That's right, man.
yeah.
So let's make a shift into business.
Yeah,
Why is health and fitness so important in business in general, and how can it affect your performance in business?
absolutely, man. That's a great question. It can get very arbitrary because it can be very different for everyone. But if you just think about it, all the ideas, anything is conceived in the mind, right? Before you start. If you wake up in a bad mood, it's very likely that your rest of the day is going to carry out that way, just because that's the way you feel, right? Now, that can translate to 2 days, to a week, and then to a month. With training, you're able to, one, chemically release endorphins, right, that make you feel a certain way. So in the past, I always used to feel that meditating was very hippie. But what meditating does is it gives you, you coach yourself in controlling your thoughts. With training, you're conditioning and coaching yourself to feel a certain way each and every single day to be able to perform optimally. And with individuals who aren't training, they'll get to a point where they just feel very, very suboptimal just because you're not releasing enough endorphins and you are not getting enough oxygen to the brain compared to someone who is exercising. So in my experience, I've told guys, they ask me, man, how did you balance medical school and fitness through your 6 years? And what really happened is I traded 2 hours of my life, 1 hour in the gym and 1 hour like cooking and dieting, right? And what that gave me was an extra 4 hours of efficiency overall because I felt good. I was happy. And the times I was exercising, I was like thinking and I was feeling good. Also, man, as a business owner, you have a lot of stress, so much stress, which can be paralyzing. You start working out in the gym and that stress leaves you. Like you play a bit of Drake, that stress starts leaving you a little bit. At the end of that 45 minutes, you feel amazing because all that anxiety and stress you had is gone. What happens the rest of the day without that stress? All of a sudden, you're like performing at such a high level. Do that consistently for 1 month, 1 year, your business is going to feel the effects.
For sure, man. And also sometimes, so I've adopted this way of eating according to macros versus what I'm eating. I'm at a point now in my diet where I was just telling you, Mike, I'm stricken out the stuff that I'm eating, even though I'm going to be hitting the same macros. It's the stuff that I'm taking in my body, more whole foods, which is going to affect how I feel overall. But I noticed that when I don't train, like you said, the day can go by a little rougher than when I do train. So me personally, I like to train first thing in the morning, right? So I wake up, I'll listen to some music, or me personally, I wake up, I'll read the Bible, read a scripture, right, a chapter, and then what I personally like to do is get right on to my workout. So I'll go for a walk first. Mike got me on 10,000 steps a day. I'm usually about 3/4 of the way there before I even start training. And then I'll go ahead and jump on a bike for 15 to 20 minutes, knock out some cardio so I can preserve muscle and not do extended cardio just yet. Mike didn't want me to wear myself out. And then I'm training right after that. By the time I'm done with all of that, I've been working out fasted these last few weeks and I feel great doing it. Even on leg day. I've been working out fasted. So I don't really start eating until like 3:00 and I'm done eating by like 8:00 at night, but I'm getting in, Mike has me on 1,700 calories right now. And obviously this is going to be different for everybody. So don't copy exactly what I'm doing, but I feel incredible by the time by the time I get out the shower and get dressed and I'm ready for business, I feel incredible and I'm ready to knock down. It's easier for me to take down my goals for the day when I know I started off and I'm pumped up and ready for the day. Then by the time I'm done with work, I get to spend time with my family and I'm still energetic. Now, obviously, when I first started with Mike, I made an adjustment in my schedule. It was rough for the first 2 to 3 weeks, I was exhausted, getting used to the routine. But now I'm like, I built up this momentum. So yes, just like with anything that you try to do, it's going to be hard in the beginning, but you have to be consistent with it. And even if you're not perfect, as long as you're consistently working toward it, eventually your body is just going to adjust. And look, I was at what, 250 ish when I met Mike.
When we started, yeah.
Right. And it took at least 6 weeks for me to break it. Right. And I was consistent. I was hitting my macros and everything. It took 6 weeks for me to drop 5 pounds. And I stayed between 240 and 245 for another 6 weeks. I want to say probably a little longer than that. Right. And then all of a sudden I hit 230s and I just breezed through the 230s. Now I'm at the top of the 220s again. I haven't been 220s in a little over a year since the pandemic started. But the whole point is the consistency part and how I feel when I'm doing business. That's why I thought bringing Mike on to talk to you guys about your health and fitness and how it relates to your business. I'm a firm believer in this. I've been doing it for 20 years, health and fitness, just as long as I've been in real estate. If you take care of your body and you take care of the way you exercise and eat, it's going to carry on into business at the end of the day. But Mike, what are some of the obstacles people are going to face when they start the health and fitness program and try to tie it into business as well? What are some obstacles people are going to face?
It's a great question, man. So the way I like to think about it is like pushing a car at dead stop, right? Pushing a car at dead stop in the very beginning can be very difficult. So just picture handbrakes down. You're trying to push that car. It feels like you're getting nowhere, but it's all about building momentum and habits. So if you think about it, if you're unfit, you're not in a place you want to be. Let's say even financially, if you're not in the best place financially, it has to do a lot with the habits you've developed. You're not taking accountability for your spending. You're not taking accountability for maybe the meetings you need to be taking. And the same goes with your diet and your health. You're not accountable for what you're putting into your body. So developing that habit in the beginning can be the most difficult part. Mm-hmm. And as you develop the one habit, you just start walking 10,000 steps. You tick that box, you'll start feeling better. Cool, you've accomplished one thing. Now the next thing is the diet, right? Okay, if you're going out for McDonald's 3 times in a week, you want to reduce that to 1, right? Because you're too busy. If you reduce it to 1, cool, that car is moving a bit faster now. After 3 weeks, let's say you've cut McDonald's out completely and now your diet's in check. You've developed another habit. After 4 to 6 weeks, all these things that are required for you to be successful, you're now ticking the boxes, right? Now it's about perfecting that system. And the same goes with business. It's all about perfecting systems.
That's right.
So after you develop these habits, you're able to translate that same mindset in terms of your fitness with your business. So with you, we started implementing it slowly. So with each and every single person, it's not one size fits all, which is what a lot of coaches struggle with. So with Jamel, we needed to implement these things step by step. Although he was getting it right, there's small things like your sleep that can play a massive role in terms of your weight loss. I call it the dark horse. You'll be working your ass off, but if you're not sleeping properly, that can affect your weight loss. And it can take time to fall in that habit. 4 weeks and now your car's moving, right? You got momentum. After about 3 to 4 months, you've lost 20 pounds. And Jamel can attest to this. He's unlikely to see 250 ever again, right? Just because he's developed these habits. Those 6 weeks really translated into, all these other aspects. So it did feel like he was, hammering down and not seeing results, but what he was really doing was building a foundation. And now, after 2 to 3 months, it's easy to push that car because it has momentum. What you keep on doing is now you start adding better gas, right? For that car to move faster, which is what you're doing right now. You're tweaking little things. You don't want the rice cakes. Now you want to maybe add a bit more veggies. You want to have a bit more broccoli because that tastes good and you like that.
Yep.
So you apply these same principles And man, give yourself a year. You'll be shocked that you were ever that person that you were before. And I'm sure you know this from your bodybuilding days.
Yeah, for sure, man. And the same happens in business. At the end of the day, most people want the overnight success. But let's just face it, right? We all do. I want to snap a finger and have an 8-pack again, like I used to have before, right? But it's a gradual process. I want to snap a finger and have one student make $1 million on their first deal, but it just doesn't happen that way. So what happens? You, like Mike said, is a building block. You're building blocks over time, building momentum in your business. But if you don't ever get started, it'll never happen. Yes, we said it already. It's going to be hard in the beginning, but you have to consistently push towards the goal in order to be able to build the momentum. So whether it's health and fitness, or whether it's your real estate business, or your other, maybe you have another business, you have to start, take baby steps. Eventually you'll go from crawling to taking your first steps to walking to running. I don't know a kid that came out the womb and started sprinting right away. Exactly. It doesn't happen that way. So it just takes time, right? But then you look at a kid who is learning how to walk. They learn how to crawl. They might slip and fall, right? They get good at crawling eventually. They'll get up. They'll take their first step. They might fall, but do they ever stay on the ground and say, I can't do this? No. You see a kid, they'll get up and try again until they actually learn how to walk, right? Absolutely. The problem is, Mike, with adults, what we tend to do is we forget that we were kids at one point and we fall, and a lot of adults don't want to get back up and try again. Adults give up too easily, man. That's the problem, right?
The same applies with going back to your question of why a coach, why get a coach. If you've never navigated through those forests, having someone by your side to say, hey man, like get up, you need to just take a left here and we'll go here. Because someone who's been through that, right? Eventually you'll get to your destination, and most likely you'll get to your destination even quicker, as opposed to, man, if you just decided to give it up for the week, if you have someone by your side who's just like, okay, like in 3 days, like, hey man, let's go. You're more likely to get to your destination quicker. And the same applies for everything. Going back to your business, having a mentor to tell you, look, this deal didn't go well. This is the mistake you made. Maybe you messed up the contract, or man, as simple as attending a meeting on time. All those little things matter, right? All those little things matter. So with a coach, you're able to reach that destination. Myself, I'm competing October 31st, 7 weeks.
And you have a coach.
I have a coach, right? And I'm in the shape of my life. And it is because I'm being navigated by someone objectively, right? It's not my friend. My coach is coaching me from a coaching perspective, and he can get me to that destination is where I want to go. And the same with Jamel. And you apply these same aspects in business. And eventually, man, once you keep on getting up, you're going to be, that's why everyone has the story to tell. Because if everyone was like, man, I just snapped my fingers and I was there, like it would be too easy. Everyone would make it. Yeah. So it's all about the journey. And as they say, like, it's not about the trophy, but it's about the journey to the trophy.
That's right, man. So why don't we provide our listeners with a step-by-step process to get along that journey? How can you help them navigate through the beginning stages of getting started with health and fitness, and helping to make that mental shift to apply those same strategies in a business as well? So why don't we talk about that? Let's provide them with, let's say, a 3-step process to really get jump started on their health and fitness, which can lead them to more results in business as well.
Fantastic. Yeah, man, that's a great one. I'll give simple tips. Simple, They'll feel difficult, but super simple. 10,000 steps a day. Just do that, right? Take your phone, have your phone on you and just check, open the app. Because when you see you've only done 1,000, that it sets a bell in your mind saying, oh, I haven't done anything today. Do 10,000 steps. See what let's see.
So check this out, everybody. So Mike he told me, I'm going into my 4th month now with Mike, right? He told me 3 months ago, start doing 10,000 steps a day. Right now it's 2:45 in the afternoon, and I'm not sure if you can see that or not, 8,800. 846. So 10,000 steps a day. I'll hit that easily. All right. I'm going to
Easy.
surpass. I'll probably get closer to 12 to 15,000. But then he told me, after a certain amount of time, he said, add some biking into that in addition to your lifting. Right. And I've been doing it every day. Right. So we didn't start with 10,000. Well, actually, we started with the 10,000 steps every day, didn't we?
We did 8,000 for like a week. And then once you got on the groove, then we bumped it up to 10, which is what I recommend. So hit the 1 milestone, increase that, hit the second milestone. And now what? You're getting about 13 to 15,000 on average, right?
About 12,000 comfortably, without pushing it too hard. I get about 12,000. So your recommendation, step number 1, is to just start with 10,000 steps, right? Don't make any drastic changes. Just start with 10,000 steps. What does that do for you, Mike?
Scientifically, you're guaranteeing a level of caloric expenditure. So you're guaranteeing a level of energy spent, as opposed to not spending that energy. So what happens with most people is they're consuming food, and all the food that isn't utilized is stored as fat. Now, if you were not doing anything before and you're doing 10,000 steps, it feels effortless. But that effortless walking results in a level of calories burnt, which will typically result in fat burned, right, over time. So going a bit about the research is that the low intensity levels of exercise taps mainly into fat stores. So if you accomplish 3 months of doing 10,000 steps, you're going to be knocking on those fat stores, and you're going to be utilizing that as a source of energy. And over time, it's very likely you'll improve. So that is one simple, easy tool to use to be able to control something that you can do to be able to lose weight outside of the diet. We'll get to the diet, and that's the second point.
Now, I ain't gonna lie, bro. When I knew that's what I was missing, right? Because when I dropped from I was 280 at one point, years ago, and I used to walk around 250 to 260, right? So earlier this year, I went from 220 right before the pandemic, 215-ish, up to 260, right? And then I built a home gym, and that was when the gyms and everything were closed. I built my own gym, and I went from 260, I'm back down to about 230-ish, right? Give and take. But you told me right off the bat, you said, I'm already training. I train pretty hard. I lift heavy. I eat, I could eat, whatever. The diet is not really a problem. It was the movement. You said, I'm willing to bet if you just move more. So the steps, right? And I feel incredible. It was hard psychologically to get 10,000 steps at first, right? And my body had to get used to it. But 2-3 months in, I feel incredible. I really do. So first step for everybody watching this who want to improve in health and fitness, be more active and have the energy to operate your business the right way, 10,000 steps a day. Practice it. It's not going to be easy in the beginning, but just push towards 10,000 steps every day. I guarantee after about a month, you're going to be breezing through this. You're going to feel incredible. That's going to give you the energy to, let's say, pick up the phone. What I do on my walks, if I'm not listening to music, I'm setting up appointments or talking to my staff. I'm doing a Zoom call with my virtual assistants. I'm doing something while I'm walking. Maybe I'm talking to Mike, who's one of my coaches when it comes to health. Maybe I'm talking to a business coach. Whatever the case may be, you could do business and health at the same time. Kill 2 birds with 1 stone. When I'm biking, I'm doing something. Maybe I'm listening to something motivational, something I can learn from, right? You can multitask. So first step, 10,000 steps. While you're walking, make sure you take out time to do something toward your business as well. So you dedicate that time maybe for phone calls and your steps, right? So that's step number 1, right? What would be step number 2, Mike?
Step number 2 is diet. So diet is king.
And that's the part everybody's scared of, man.
It's the part everyone's scared of. It's why I didn't start with it. And I'm not gonna tell you to get on a strict diet. Mm-hmm. What I will tell you to do is, one, cut out the fast foods. Just do that. If you want pizza, make it at home. Make it yourself. If you want to make a burger, make the burger at home. Just cut out the fast food.
Because then you know what you're eating.
You know what you're eating, and you can see what you're eating, and you're more conscious of what you're eating. And on top of that, cut out the sugar. Do those two things: fast food and sugar. And mind you, like, if you want an ice cream, there are like sugar-free ice creams. If you want anything that's savory or sweet, there are healthier alternatives. If you're doing it at home, you're more likely over time to see better results. I have one client, and this is simple points I've given him. He's been losing 5 pounds a week, which is shocking me, right? Wow. But he was eating Taco Bell's, McDonald's, Burger King every day once he had a baby. And I told him, just cut it out. No more. Don't do it anymore. And he's been losing all that weight just because those foods were so high in fat and they were non-quality foods. Mm-hmm. You're more likely to put quality foods into your body if you just eat at home, mm-hmm. as opposed to doing fast food. So that's just one simple step, without telling you too strict of, hey, this is what you need, without getting too nitty-gritty into the science. This is a habit you should build. Cut out the fast food, cut out the sugar, see what that does to you. You will feel amazing. It won't be easy, right? Because you'll find yourself in situations. Just cut out the fast food, cut out the sugar.
That's right, man. Now, like Mike said, you don't necessarily need to be on a strict diet. When I first started dropping weight, when I learned the science of it, my bodybuilding coach years ago put me on a strict diet right away. Within 6 months, I won my first bodybuilding competition, right? But what I will say is, Mike said, cut out the sugar. I went to sugar-free. I don't like soda, but sometimes I need flavor. So I'll drink a sugar-free, like let's say Diet Coke, right?
Yeah, I'm drinking a sugar-free drink right now.
Look at that, that's fine. Right? So cut out the sugar, number one. Increase your water intake, right? And if you do that, and you just watch the high-calorie fats, the foods, that's going to make a drastic change. One app that I use on my iPhone, I use Fat Secret. If you guys, I'll go ahead and link it in the description for you. But Fat Secret will help you track your calories. Just like if you're doing cold calling or you're sending out direct mail for your business, you have to track what you're doing in order to know. So, for example, if I know that it's going to take me, let's say, 25 offers to get one contract, if I'm wholesaling, if I don't track that, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm operating my business blindly. You want to do the same thing. Your body is a business. Your body is a system, right? Yes. So in order for you to operate your system, just like with business, it all boils down to numbers. That's it, right? If I know I got to pick up the phone 100 times to get one contract, then I'm going to do that. I can do that consistently because I know for every 100 calls I make, I'm going to get one contract, right? If I track what I'm eating, I know if I want to lose a pound a week or 2 pounds a week, if I know what I'm eating, if I just reduce it slightly, obviously I'm going to have a positive effect. If I increase it, I'm going to have a negative effect, right? So in addition to your 10,000 steps, you want to clean up your food a little bit, right? Why don't you track what you're eating for a week, right? Just take 7 days, maybe even 2 weeks. Take 2 weeks and just punch in everything that you eat within that 2-week time frame. You'll be surprised at those numbers, right? But now you'll have a basis that you can start with and say, okay, if I just adjusted this a little bit and adjusted that a little bit and see how my body reacts to it, I can have an effect, either whether it's positive or negative, right? So track and use the app called Fat Secret. Mike, I think you like, what is it? MyFitnessPal?
MyFitnessPal. Yeah, MyFitnessPal is great too. Mm-hmm. You download it, you put in all your details. It'll even ask you how much weight you want to lose in a week. Just do that. Just download it. It's free. You don't need the paid version. do that for a week. It's data, right? It's vital data. It's like,
that's right.
It's if you want your car to be a Ferrari, you want to know what fuel you're putting in, just track it for a week, 2 weeks, see what happens.
That's right, man. I'm glad you mentioned the word data, because business in general, especially the real estate business, is all about data. If you got the most data, if you have high quality data, then you'll do the most deals. Same exact thing with health and fitness. We just mentioned,
Absolutely.
right? Your body is a business. Your body is a system. And one business, one system, your body can carry over into your finances. It can carry over into your family life. It can carry over into, life in general. But if you're not healthy, you're not going to be able to perform at the highest peak, at the highest level, right? So that's why I don't see anybody else in the real estate space or in business in general talking about stuff like this. I wanted to be one of the first, right? I'm the first in a lot of different things, Mike. I ain't gonna lie, man. And I'm trying to bring a different kind of flavor.
That's why you're exactly where you're at in life, man.
I appreciate it, man. And I don't say that to pat myself on the back, but I'm just trying to be different than everybody else, man. Talk about some real life stuff. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So we got 10,000 steps, and we got just cleaning up the diet and tracking the eating. What would be step number 3? Final step.
The third step is resistance training, right? Training in the gym. Now, me and Jamel we can have a whole separate podcast on this, but set yourself, number one, I'll do 2 things. Set yourself a goal of how many times you want to go to the gym. And number 2, I'll send Jamel a link for a free program. You just need to decide how many days you want to go. The program will have it. Maybe Jamel will put in the description, and you can at least use that as baby steps of what you need to do in the gym. So you're not going in there blindly. But resistance training is paramount to be able to have some muscle tissue. So even for females to tone yourself up, it is having a bit of muscle tissue on you. You just need to decide how many days you want to go, stick to that, and then over time gradually improve. But I'll do that for you guys. I'll send Jamel the link, and then you can use that as a stepping stone and then even improve on that.
Absolutely. Now, listen, that's a perfect segue, Mike. Where can our listeners, obviously you have your YouTube channel and you have your Instagram going on. Where can our listeners find out more information? I am going to link that free training in the description box, but where else can they get more information from you, brother?
You can contact me at Mike Diamonds at sculptbyscience.com. Whatever questions you have, just say you're from Jamel. Hey, I heard you from Jamel's podcast. I'll help you. I'll set you in the right direction. Again, I don't want anything in return. As I said, my guilty pleasure is helping people. And at least if you're in the right direction, if I know you're a bit healthier the next month, you feel a bit better the next month, then this podcast was a W. So at Mike Diamonds at sculptbyscience.com. And I'm sure in that little PDF with the training program, it should be able to lead you in the right direction.
Yeah, for sure. Now, I'm going to link Mike's YouTube page in the description box. I'm going to link his website, sculptbyscience.com, his IG as well. And definitely, if you have, questions to help you get on the right track, Mike is happy to answer those questions for you. But for the most part, I invest into Mike's program. I invest monetarily into his program, I bought into, I invest into myself. That's what I consider that to be. Right. So
exactly.
I have, Mike is my actual coach. I pay Mike. Right. And sometimes in order for you to perform at your highest peak, not even sometimes, all the time, if you really want to take your business or your life from where you are now to where you want to go, consider investing into yourself. Mike and I, we're the same. We want to help people. Sometimes people invest into my coaching program. Sometimes, sometimes I'll create a YouTube video wrapped around some of your questions. But the whole point is invest into yourself. When you invest into yourself, it forces you to want to make sure that you follow through with whatever that end goal is. Because, you could do free coaching all day, Mike, but what are the chances of somebody actually succeeding if they haven't put any real skin in the game?
Absolutely. I said this. And in my first year, I just wanted to get some transformations.
Mm-hmm.
And I told people I'll coach them for free.
Yeah, I've done that.
And I had to chase people to give me some results. Hey man, how you doing? I now charge now thousands of dollars for coaching. Mind you, it is, in my opinion, it is the highest level of coaching you can get. And miraculously, everyone texts me back and they see amazing results. Right. So you need to get skin in the game. It's the same as going to college, right? If you're not paying for it, if you're not paying, you're not going to attend those classes. You're not going to write that exam, and you're not going to get your degree at the end of the day. But when you have skin in the game, you're going to put in the work. This is how it is. It's psychology.
Absolutely. Absolutely, man. So at the end of the day, bro, you know, when we look at what we're discussing here, take care of your health, take care of your fitness. Most of the people that watch me on YouTube are guys, right? And most of them are between 25 and 35 years old. My second category would be 35 to 45 years old, right? That's the category of people that follow me. I have about 20% women. My women population is growing as well, you know, but, you know, no matter who you are, you have to take care of your health and fitness in order to be able to operate optimally in your business. Mike is willing to help you, right? I'm willing to help you. Mike has a fantastic channel. That's how I found him on YouTube and hired him as my coach. Mike is a YouTube guy as well, right? But look at his videos. I can't remember which video it was that convinced me that this guy's. I think you had a video with Redman, the rapper.
Yes.
He did a video, and then maybe a few weeks later, I said, "Yeah, I gotta contact this guy." I reached out to you, man, and hired you, and it was one of the best decisions that I've made all year, man. But for sure, if at the very least, watch Mike's YouTube videos, because there's, just like my channel, there's a plethora of information that you can learn from. Unfortunately, it's up to you to apply the information. But if you hire Mike, then you can expect results as long as you put in the work. And that's basically how it works. So I'm going to link all of that in the description box for you guys. Now, Mike, obviously, in order to continue to grow, you're a doctor, man. So I know you like to read. Are you currently reading anything that's feeding your brain right now, man?
Man, my readings is very different right now. The books I'm reading right now is about the latest book I'm reading is by Frederick Eklund, which is How to Sell Anything. Right. He's into real estate. He's the host of $1 Million Listing. Now it's very, very different from my scientific books. But what I found so interesting about his book is how taking care of yourself in every different aspect plays a role. Yeah. He talks about when you shake someone's hand, it tells you a lot about them, right? If you don't smell good, it tells you something about them. If you're not dressed appropriately, it tells you something about them, you know, in terms of like conducting business. So it's all these things that we quote unquote take for granted, but that's very important to be able to move in the 21st century, right? It is what it is, man. It is what it is. You need to look the part. No one's gonna give you $1 million if you don't act accordingly, right? You're not gonna get in certain rooms if you don't, you know, do certain things to be able to fit in, if that makes sense. So that's the book I'm reading outside of the very scientific stuff that I read in terms of the research papers. But I feel like it does give me a good perspective on different things.
Fantastic, man. I'm going to make sure I link that in the description box as well. Now, Mike, man, if you had to provide our listeners with some last words of advice to go from where they are now to where they want to go in health and fitness, in business, or in life in general, what would those words be?
The time is now. The time is now. I am in the hospital all the time. I spent my whole life in the hospital, and everyone in their bed wishes they did certain things differently. They wish they stopped smoking, wished they started running a bit more, wished they went to the gym once or twice, wished they did something. And the reality is the time is now. There's never a perfect time to start walking 10,000 steps. There's never a perfect time to start handling your business better. There's never a perfect time. The time is now. Just do it. Say, hey, today's the day. Tell the whole world, tell everybody, your cousin, your mom, your aunt, put it on your Instagram, put it on your Facebook, because they will hold you accountable. They'll be like, aren't you supposed to be on a diet? Start on those little tips and then start building on that, man. Use that as a foundation and grow. I'm sure the same applies with business. Start now, whatever it is you want to chase, and you'll be proud of yourself 1 year, 2 years, 3 years later.
That's right, man. I love that. The time is right now. In order for you to get from where you are to where you want to go, take action, be consistent, and you'll be able to accomplish anything in life. Love Absolutely. It, man. Great podcast, brother. I appreciate you taking out the time to talk. I
appreciate you, man.
The audience, man. I hope you guys benefited from this as well. I would love to have you again in the future, Mike. Maybe we could do a Q&A or something like that. Maybe something a little different based off of the questions we get in the description box. Listen, guys, go ahead, like this video, share this video. If you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe to this channel, subscribe to Mike's channel. I'm going to link it in the description box as well. Leave a comment. Let us know where you are in your business. Health and fitness plays a major role. I recently had a video where we talked about mental health, right? This is physical health now. This is going to all lead to financial health later. I'm doing this purposely because business is really wrapped around everything you do, whether it's mental, physical, financial, family, whatever the case may be. I'm doing this so that you guys can be well-rounded in life, well-rounded individuals to really perform at your highest peak. So if you're enjoying these podcasts, do me a favor, express that in the comment section. Smash a like. It really helps this video get pushed out and helps the channel as well. And I'm looking forward to seeing you guys on the next one. Peace.